Inihahandog ng Philippine Air Force at ng himpilang ito ang programang gagabay tungo sa kapayapaan ng bawat mamamaya at pag-unlad ng buong pamayanan. Usapang Pangkapayapaan, Usapang Pangkaunlaran.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat mga kaibigan. Ngayon po ay December 28. Ilang araw na lang po ay bagong taon na. Sa pangalan po ng aming commander, dito po ng aming commanding general ng Philippine Air Force, Major General Conor Anthony D. Canlas. At sa pangalan din po ng aming commander dito po sa ATDC, si Major General Fernil Buca, mga kaibigan. Ako po si Brigadier General Jerry Samudio. Magandang araw po sa inyo lahat. Ngayon po ay araw ng Tuesday at pag Tuesday ho, kasama po natin si Gay Florendo, ang Assistant Spokesperson ng NTF LCAC. Mamaya po kanya pong ipapakilala yung ating pong mga bisita. Ang ganda po ng line-up ngayon. At abangan din po yung balita galing po dyan sa Davao de Oro. Kasama po natin dyan si Major General Jess Durante, ang commander po ng 1001st Infantry Pag-Asa Brigade ng 10th Infantry Agila Division. At may magandang report po tayo dyan. Pagkatapos lamang po ng balita, galing po kay Airwoman Cherry Flores.
Ang sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas, kakampi sa lahat ng sandali, nangangalaga sa panahon ng trahedya, masasandalan sa panahon ng kaguluhan, kaagapay ng bayan sa pagpapanatili ng kapayapaan. Ang inyong armed forces, puwersa ng mga kawal Pilipinong hatid ay totoong serbisyo.
At para naman sa ating mga balita, pinasinungalingan ni 10th Infantry Division Commander Major General Ernesto Torres Jr. ang paratang ng Communist Party of the Philippines or CPP na mga fake surrenderers lang ang mga nagbalik loob ng mga New People's Army o NPA sa gobyerno. Isang press conference inihayag ni General Torres na isang malaking kasinungalingan ang nilabas na pahayag ng CPP para pagdudahan ng kasundaluhan ang mga sumukong NPA. Ayon sa opisyal na nagkakamali ang nasabing grupo dahil sa ganda ng programa ng gobyerno para sa mga dating rebelde at mga nakatira sa kanayunan ay imposible na itong makuha ulit ang loob na minsan na nilang hinawakan na komunidad. Inhayag pa ng general na ginagawa nila ito ngayon dahil alam nila na wala na silang suporta na makukuha sa mga komunidad at bagkus ay pinapalayas na ang mga ito dahil sa gulo na kanilang ginagawa. Sinang-ayunan naman ito ng dating kadre na si Kaamihan ang pahayag ng general kung saan binanggit nito ang mga proyekto ng National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict o NTF-LCAC na isa sa mga nagpabago ng isip ng mga tao na magbalik loob sa gobyerno. Ayon kay Kaamihan, dahil sa mga proyekto ng NTF-LCAC, nakikita na ng mga tao ang senseridad ng pamahalaan na mapaangat ang buhay ng kanilang mamamayan. Bagay umano na sinisira ng grupo para mas lalong magagalit ang mga tao sa gobyerno at mag-alsa sa pamamagitan ng armadong pakikibaka. At para naman sa iba pang mga balita, nagpapatuloy ang Joint Task Force Sambisig sa relief operations nito sa pagdadala ng mga kailangang personnel at relief goods sa pamamagitan ng air transport sa pangunguna ng Tactical Operations Wing Eastern Mindanao or TAO-ESMIN unit ng Philippine Air Force. Kahit ang araw ng Pasko ay inalay ng mga kasundaluhan ng Air Force at iba pang branch of service ng AFP para sa mga biktima ng bagyong Odette sa Northern Mindanao na nangangailangan ng kalinga sa gitna ng krisis na iniwan ng bagyo. Sa tulong ng Black Hawk helicopters at Bell 412 combat utility helicopters, isinakay ng mga personnel ng TAO-ESMIN ang mga medical teams mula sa mga local government units, mga relief goods at medical supplies patungo sa Siargao Island na isa sa pinakanasalantang lugar na grabeng natamaan ng bagsik ng bagyong Odette. Ako po ang inyong lingkod, Woman Cherry Flores na nag-uulat para sa Up Pilipinas.
Ang pangkapayapaan, usapang pangkaunlaran.
Samantala mga kaibigan, isang rifle ang naiwan ng tumakas ng mga komunistang teroristang New People's Army matapos ang isang maikling engkwentro sa 4th Infantry Battalion sa magubat na lugar sa barangay Katipunan, Aboyog, Leyte noong December 27, 2021. Kahapon po yan. Sinabi ni Lieutenant Colonel Ernesto de la Rosa, 14th Infantry Battalion Commander, na isang informant daw ang nagbigay ng impormasyon sa plano ng mga teroristang komunistang New People's Army na guluhin ang paghatid ng mga relief goods sa mga pamilyang naapektuhan ng bagyong Odette sa Southern Leyte. Ayon naman kay Major General Edgardo de Leon, Commander ng 8th Infantry Battalion, na ayon raw sa tipster, ang plano ng mga terorista ay magtatag ng roadblock, magnakaw ng family food packs upang sila mismo ang mamigay sa mga residente ng barangay Katipunan at ipamuka na ito ang mga relief na bigay ng New People's Army. Dagdag pa niya na ang aksyon ng mga miyembro ng New People's Army ay nagalayong maantala at guluhin ang mga relief operations upang ang mga pamilyang naghihintay ng mga relief goods na walang alam sa nangyayari ay magkaroon ng dahilan upang magreklamo at sisihin ang gobyerno. Sinabi rin niya na anumang pagkakaantala sa mga serbisyo ng gobyerno sa anumang kadahilanan ay maaaring magdulot ng galit laban sa gobyerno. Idinagdag pa niya na lahat ng ginagawang kabutihan ng gobyerno ay sinisiraan ng CBP-NPA-NDF upang magalit sa gobyerno ang mga apektado ng bagyo. Mga kaibigan, yan po ang balitang sinulat po ni Airwoman Second Class Joy Makalintal. Mga kaibigan, welcome po ulit sa ating palatuntunan. Acknowledge ko lang po yung ating program producer, si Airwoman Second Class Mariel Kawid, at sa technical side, si Sergeant Mark De Leon. Nabanggit ko kanina na ngayon po ay Tuesday. Pag Tuesday, kasama po natin si Gay Florendo ng NTF LCAC. At bago natin puntahan po ang Brigade Commander ng 1001st Infantry Brigade, ay bigay ko muna yung microphone kay Gay Florendo para ipakilala yung ating mga kasama, and then after kay Gay, pupuntahan ko si Brigadier General Jess Durante para doon sa report yung magandang nangyari dyan sa parte po ng Davao de Oro. Gay?
Yes, General Jerry, magandang hapon po at sa lahat ng nanonood at nakikinig sa atin. Magandang hapon din sa ating mga kasama sa Team Up Pilipinas, Airwoman Cherry, Airwoman Mariel, Yes for Peace founder, Ka Ernie, veteran broadcast journalist Emil Carrion, and from the Netherlands, si Sir Bong David. Ngayong hapon po, pag-uusapan natin itong nangyaring encounter in Davao de Oro noong bisperas ng Pasko, kung saan ang ating 1001st Infantry Brigade was able to neutralize a top CPP member na nagngangalang Ana Sandra Reyes. Bago nito, there were reports of mass surrenders. 19 surrenderies, for example, in one report. Brigadier General Jesus P. Durante III, the commander of the 1001st Infantry Pag-Asa Brigade of the 10th Infantry Agila Division, led by Major General Ernesto Torres, will tell us more about this. Itong engkwentro laban sa isang top CPP commander in Davao de Oro. Sino at ano-ano ang mga nagawang atrocities ng CPP leader na ito? Ang second part naman ng ating programa, General Jerry, will be about our LCAC campaign, handled by or led by our Joint Regional Task Force in Region 13, CARAGA. We have with us ngayong hapon our cluster representatives, ang ating head ng Situational Awareness and Knowledge Management Cluster, Regional Director Harold P. National. Sir, welcome po sa APA Pilipinas.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Sa ating host up na si Brigadier General Jerry Samudyo at sa 10 ng kanyang mga kasamahan. Maraming salamat sa pag-imbita at belated Merry Christmas, Advance Happy New Year. At sa magiting na Brigade Commander ng 101st Infantry Brigade kay General Jess
Durante.
Congratulations, Jess Durante, congratulations sa kanilang accomplishments. At sa 10 sa nakikinig at saka nanonood, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are also joined by our NCIP Region 13 Regional Director. They will talk about, sir, ang effect or extent ng damage and the efforts po na ginagawa natin in Region 13 dito sa epekto ng Typhoon Odette. Back to you, General Jerry, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Gay. As I said a while ago na ngayon po ay bisita po natin na-introduce na rin po ni Gay Florendo, yung commander po ng 1001st Infantry Pag-Asa Brigade ng 10 Infantry Agila Division, si Major General Jess Durante. Brigadier General Jess, good afternoon and welcome sa ating programa. Okay. Walang audio si General.
Again, magandang hapon sa ating lahat, especially kay Sir Jerry, of course kay Sir Harold Nacional, and kay Ma'am Gabe, and the other panelists or those who are present here in this conference or meeting. Magandang hapon po.
Congratulations, General Jess, doon sa inyong ginawang operations at talagang nakita namin na kahit na Christmas Eve ay tuloy-tuloy yung operations ninyo dyan sa inyong lugar at ang malaking accomplishment ninyo ay yung pagkaka-neutralize kay Ana Sandra Reyes. Pwede bang ikwento nyo sa amin yung kwento behind dito sa pagkaka-neutralize kay Ana Sandra Reyes na nabalitaan namin ay member pala ng Central Committee ng Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army at saka ng National Democratic Front?
Well, itong operations po namin, well, for me, I assume as Brigade Commander of 1001st Pag-Asa Brigade here in Mako, Davao de Oro, just last August, I was formerly the commander of the Presidential Security Group. So, nagsimula po itong operations namin nung September pa, nung September, early September. Nung pag-upo ko kasi dito, I saw the area that we are confronting two guerrilla fronts. Weekend Guerrilla Front 2, which are both weekend, and Weekend Guerrilla Front 3. Itong Guerrilla Front 2, ang area niya is itong Pantukan, Mabini, Mako area. Gold panning or gold mining areas po yung area na yan. So, andyan po yung Guerrilla Front 2, which is considered as the oldest guerrilla front ng buong Pilipinas. So, we are supposed to be clearing the Guerrilla Front 2. We are tasked to conduct that. But when I arrived here, there was a report that itong regional headquarters, which is being led by Menandro Villanueva, or alias Bok, and some high-value personalities or high-ranking personalities ng Commission Mindanao is here in our area. And they have merged actually itong reportedly together with the Guerrilla Front 2 at itong sa sub-regional guerrilla unit nila sa SRGU. So our target actually is to neutralize Menandro Villanueva. Because after Ka-Oris, one of the highest ranking member of COMID now left here in Mindanao is Menandro Villanueva. So actually si Bok may inallocate na reward, cash reward money yung DND dyan and the ILG, which is 5.6 million. So aside from Bok, ang isa pang prominent personality in the area is Eric Jan Casilaw, AKL yan. Kasi Casilaw ito po yung kapatid nung sa party list. Casilaw. So siya, may patong naman na 5.4 million. Then, we have been monitoring Ana Sandra Reyes, alias Kay, to be also with the group. But at first, we were unaware that she is a member of the Central Committee. Hindi kami aware doon. But ang alam namin is she's with the group, with the RHQ, Regional Headquarters. And our mission then is to go after that group, aside from clearing Guerrilla Front 2. So we launched the operations last September. And on 10 September, first encounter, there was a first armed engagement against the RHQ. Dito po sa barangay ng Malamudaw. Malamudaw po, dito sa Mabini. Mabini, Davao de Oro. So nagka-enkwentro po. And nung nag-withdraw yung regional headquarters, they were numbering about 40. So nung nag-withdraw sila, another encounter transpired on 12 September. So wherein dalawa yung nahuli. Dalawang babae, yung isa minor, 17 years old from Pakibato. So nung nahuli namin sila, they revealed that Bok, Elian, and Kay is with the group. So nando sila ang nakapag-confirm sa amin. And to think, the last time that the regional headquarters figured in an armed encounter with the government forces was 2006 pa, 15 years ago. So this is the first time that they were hit by the government forces. So that was September. Then after that, nawala sila. Nawala sila. So we were monitoring them, but hindi namin ma-pinpoint ang location. Then last November, there was a persistent report that an armed group is being monitored in Pantukan area, in Pantukan. So from the armed encounter last September, nasa southwest portion sila and barely 5 grid squares or 5 kilometers air distance away from the national highway. So masyado na silang malapit. So what we did is, again, we planned the operations and launched an operations, and doon na nagkaroon ng habulan. So na-detect nila somehow ang movement namin. So they move out. Sinundan namin from Pantukan. They move northeast. They move northeast towards Mabini. And from Mabini, on 17 December, nagka-enkwentro ulit yung mga sundalo po natin sa Barigyan, Golden Valley. Sitio Barigyan, Barangay Golden Valley, still in Mabini. So nung 17 na enkwentro, then on 19 again, sinundan pa rin natin, hindi natin tinigilan. Sinundan yung kung saan ang mga pinagdaanan nila. So on 19th December, na-enkwentro na naman, wherein 3 were captured. 1 was wounded. Itong si Daniel Del Llosa, aka Axel. He's the Deputy Secretary of the Guerrilla Front 2 and political instructor of SRGU. So nawunded siya at may video po kami. Pinaprocess po, but it will be out this week. Na ginagamot po siya ng mga sundalo natin. So medyo critical po yung tama niya sa hita, yung artery tinamaan, but ginamot po siya. At ngayon nagpapagaling po siya sa 10th ID Hospital. So that was on 19 December. Yung dalawang nahuli naman is mag-ama. Mag-ama nahuli, si Aka Tata and Aka Maika, wherein yung isa, yung bata is again a minor, 17 years old na babae. And 2 firearms were recovered in that encounter. That was 19 December. And based on the captured itong mga communist terrorists, they again revealed na nandun pa rin si Menandro Villanueva, si alias Kay, nandun pa rin, si Eric Jan Casilaw, nandun pa rin, at si Ana Sandra Reyes, nasa grupo pa rin. And yun nga, sabi nila, is halos hindi na sila makakain, mahirap na, at parati tayong sinusundan ng mga sundalo. So, that was 19 December. So, instead of moving northwards, because we were thinking na babalik sila ng Malamudaw to celebrate the CPP anniversary. So, actually, may mga tropa. We were prepared for an armed engagement those north of their current position. But, ginawa nila, nag-shift sila, pabalik ng Pantukan, Mabini-Pantukan area. they moved southwest. So, na-track na naman ng mga kasundaluhan natin, ang sisipag po ng mga sundalo natin na pag nakakita po ng mga yapak, hindi po na-identify na sa sundan, sinong sundan po talaga yan? Araw at hapon, kahit gabi, ulan o init, sinusundan kahit bangin. That's why on 24 December, another encounter occurred. This one in kilometer 13 in Barangay Cabuyuan in Mabini. Nag-move na naman sila palapit sa National Highway, which is kilometer 13, is 13 kilometers away sa papunta sa highway. Doon po banda. So the troops were able to recover 1 body count and 3 high-powered firearms. And we found out na itong iniwan ng mga kasamahan niyang NPA ay isang babae. Hindi pa namin ma-identify sino, and the encounter transpired at around 2 p.m. In the afternoon. So, ginawa namin after the troops cleared the area, na-recover yung casualty ng NPA, and that's where we identified, nung dumating na sa tactical command post, that the one that was killed was Ana Sandra Reyes alias Kay. So, nung tiningnan namin na positive siya talaga, now, ito pala si Kay ay member para ng Central Committee. She was elected last 2016 nung magkaroon sila ng plenum sa Samar. So dito sa buong Pilipinas, 35 members lang po yan, and ng Central Committee ng CPP. Then at the same time, he is the current secretary nitong region and city natin, yung tinatawag RCTC or itong Regional White Area Committee. Ito talaga si Kay, ang expertise niya is white area. She works in the urban areas and synchronizes the works of the legal fronts ng CPP NPA. So siya pa rin yung secretary ng Regional White Area Committee. So with that, nung ma-recover na, identify na siya, at dinala po natin turn over po natin sa local officials, then dinala na po sa funeraria. And the other day, yung mga relatives niya is kinlaim naman yung body. So we gave her a very decent doon sa vigil, doon po sa Mabini, sa bayan ng Mabini. So ngayon, after nung encounter na yun, we are still pursuing itong group ni Menandro Villanueva. Konti na lang sila, nagkawatak-watak na. From 40, it's being reported that the group under book now is maximum of 10 people na lang yung, kasi nagka-separate na sila. So we're still going after them. Even until now, kakababa ko lang sa tactical command post. And hopefully, before the year ends, makukuha na namin to, so that we will have a decisive victory against the CPP-NPA here in Davao de Oro. So yun po ang buong kwento po dyan, Sir Jerry.
Thank you very much, General Jess. Acknowledge ko rin po yung presence ni Emil Carrion at saka ni Founder Bong Davida galing sa bansang the Netherlands. So sa ngayon, ang tracking natin ay nandoon kay Villanueva at saka kay Kasilaw, na ito si Kasilaw pala, base doon sa pagkakapaliwanag po ni General Jess, ay kapatid nung representative na si dating Representative Kasilaw. Tama ba yun, General Jess?
Opo, yun po. Totoo po yan. Siya po ay kapatid ng party list representative po dati. Okay.
So, yung general direction nila, so ngayon ang tracking yung monitoring ninyo ay halos nakikita nyo na monitor nyo naman, General Jess, yung direction na nagkawatak-watak na grupo nila Villanueva at saka ni Kasilaw?
So far sa ngayon, we are still monitoring them. Ang napansin kasi namin, itong even Guerrilla Front 2 and itong grupo ni Menandro Villanueva, they are really secretive. Hindi na po sila gumagamit ng masa, hindi na sila lumalapit sa mga tao. Unlike before, meron na silang may mga pasiunang contact in every barangay. But ngayon po, with our program, nakuha na po natin lahat yan. So itong mga tao mismo ang nagko-cooperate with the 101st Infantry Brigade. they are the ones pointing. Ito nga nung enkwentro nung December 19, yung isang babae mismo galing sa barangay ng Barangay ang tumakbo sa mga sundalo na may nagtatagong dalawang NPA doon sa likod ng bahay niya. Kaya po nahuli yun. So people have been cooperating. So somehow right now, we know the general area where they are at ginagamit po natin yung resources, even the resources of the Philippine Air Force in locating them. So by all means, so I hope ngayon we have been fielding and even until now around 300 plus soldiers on the ground just to go after them.
Oh, kasama pa yung PNP dyan, kaya madami.
Opo.
So sa ngayon yung 35 doon sa of the 35 members of the Central Committee, ang isa diyan si Ana Sandra Reyes at yung iba diyan na neutralized na rin eh. So of the 35, ilan yung identified ninyo General Jess na nasa area ninyo sa EOR ninyo?
So far ang identify na within the area ng Brigade is siya lang po. Siya lang po yung miyembro ng Central Committee dito.
Pala talaga si Ana Sandra Reyes. So mas mataas pa kina Villanueva at saka kina Kasilaw, General Jess, ano?
Ito po si Menandro Villanueva. He's a member of COMID, Commission Mindanao. At the same time, allegedly has been reported to be the current secretary of the Southern Mindanao Regional Committee. So ito naman si Elian is a sub-regional guerrilla unit naman siya. Which is a military arm of the of itong SMRC. So sa atin pa is mas mataas talaga ang posisyon ni siya ang pinakamataas ngayon being the member of the Central Committee because she directly reports to Joma Sison in Netherlands. So talagang mataas po ang katungkulan niya.
Okay, congratulations sa inyong grupo, General Jess Durante, at sana matapos ito bago magtapos itong taon na ito or kung mag-spill over man or tumawid man ng 2022 sa first quarter, makuha na natin yung mga high value target natin para once and for all ay maramdaman na ng ating mga kabayan yung kapayapaan dyan sa inyong area of responsibility. So baka mayroon kang mensahe, General Jess, sa ating mga tagapagsubaybay at sa mga nakikinig natin ng mga miyembro ng New People's Army ngayon.
Well, kami po sa 1st Infantry Brigade and of course in behalf of the 10th Infantry Division, we are actually, we are following a timeline here to accomplish our mission, which is to clear the region of insurgency. So kami po, hindi po namin kayang mag-isa yan. So kailangan po namin ng tulong ng mamamayan. So mabuti na lang po at nandito yung National Task Force LCAC. And they've been helping us a lot, especially in the implementation, itong mga barangay development programs natin, at saka pag-organize nitong mga people's organizations. Napakalaking bagay po yan. So kami po ay nagpapasalamat din sa mga mamamayan dito sa Davao de Oro, in behalf of my brigade, sa kanila pong suporta. And even the local chief executives, they have been very supportive. Even now, campaign fever na ngayon dito sa area ng Davao de Oro. So kami naman dito sa brigade at itong mga sundalo ngayon, hindi naman pong permanente na nandyan po kami sa inyong mga bakuran o nasa inyong mga lupain. Because sana maintindihan nyo po yung bakit kami nandun. It's because we are conducting focused military operations in the area right now. Just to flush out itong grupo ng Southern Mindanao Regional Committee. So pag naniniwala po kami na pag nawala na po itong si Menandro Villanueva at itong SMRC ay magiging mapayapa na po ang region ng Davao de Oro. So maraming salamat po sa suporta nyo sa amin. Maraming salamat po sir sa pag-invite sa amin dito.
Thank you very much. Mga kaibigan nyo pong napakinggan si Brigadier General Jess Durante. Siya po ang commander ng 101st Infantry Pag-Asa Brigade sa ilalim po ng 10th Infantry Agila Division. Back to you, Gay.
Yes, General Jerry, do you have questions po or rejoinders from mga kasama po natin? If none, we would like to congratulate again in behalf of the NTF LCAC Brigadier General. Sir, congratulations po sa inyong latest accomplishment, sir.
Maraming salamat din po, ma'am. Maraming salamat po sa lahat.
Yes, sir. We hope you can join us again po sa mga susunod po, succeeding weeks po, sir.
Pag nakuha na po namin, ma'am, ito si Menando Villanueva, definitely will be here again.
Ma'am Gay?
Yes, sir. Bong David from the Netherlands, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Maraming salamat because kay Brigadier General Jerry Samodjo at kay Brigadier General Jesus Durante. Sir, saludo po ako sa inyo at sa inyo pong mga kasama. At congratulations again, sir. Sir, sa ngayon, sir, ang inyo pong area of responsibility, nasa ilang porsyento na lang po ang natitirang pwersa po ng makakaliwang grupo, sir, sa kasalukuyan, sir?
For the information of everyone here, when with the current administration, noong 2016, meron pong 11 guerrilla fronts nandito po sa area namin. Napakarami po. Then NTF LCAC was established. That's with 238 na NPA regulars. Nung na-establish ang NTF LCAC, nagkaroon ng whole of nation approach dito sa area. Everybody was cooperating, local government units and the local chief executives. Now we are down to 2 guerrilla fronts. Na weekend pa siya. 2 guerrilla fronts with only plus the SRGO and RHQ of Menando Villanueva, we are down to 100. So 238 we're down to 100. Dito lang po sa area ng 1001st Infantry Brigade. Yun po.
Right. At nabanggit nyo nga kanina, sir, talagang napakamahalaga talaga, no, yung ugnayan po ng komunidad sa inyo po at lalo-lalo na doon sa mga nagawa po ng NTF LCAC, kaya ho naging mas madali ho sa inyo. Ano naman ho, sir, yung mga na-encounter natin sa kasalukuyan, sir, na medyo may balakid ho sa inyo pong mga ginagawa sa ngayon, sir?
Dito naman, maganda po yung naging estratehiya ng 10th Infantry Division nung bago nagkaroon ng malawakang operasyon laban dito sa CPP-NPA. So, sa amin dito, ang naging problema, bakit ba ang isang tanong, bakit hindi nawawala yung NPA dito sa area ng Davao de Oro? It's because mining area ito. They have the resources. So with the documents that we had right now that we recovered dito sa regional headquarters, some companies, mining companies, and some contractors and construction companies are still giving, or I could say, supporting or giving funds or money dito sa nasa libro, nakuha po namin yung libro nila. So we'll be turning that over to the regional task force here, LCAC, to be acted upon. So yun lang po ang problema namin na yung extortion activities nila ay tuloy pa rin. Tuloy pa rin dito. Without that, totally they will be isolated. Itong sa mga masa natin talagang sa communities, inaayawan na sila. Ina-isolate na sila. But they still thrive dito sa. It's because of resources. Kung wala na silang resources dito, talagang mapuputol na yung lifeline nila here in Davao de Oro.
Lalo ngayon, sir, malapit na po yung halalan, sir, ano? Meron ho ba kayong mga nababalitaan na meron po mga tumatakbong politiko na ginagamit nila bilang ini-extortion nila bukod ho dun sa mga mining companies, sir, na ginagawan po nila o kinukuha po nila ng resources, sir?
Well, so far, sa mga kandidato po dito, ng mga local dito for the local elections, marami ang nagsabi, especially itong mga sa key provincial and municipalities positions na wala ng permit to campaign. Wala ng permit to campaign. Ang medyo binabantayan lang po namin dito is some of the politicians have been using former rebels who also have, of course, maybe they could still have contacts or connections with the NPAs in the area to, of course, to to show terror or to threaten people in the area to vote for him or for that. So may mga nagre-report po ganyan. But when it comes to monetary, so far, wala pa kaming evidence. Ito palang documents na nakuha namin dito sa RHQ, sa regional headquarters under Menando Villanueva. Yung pa lang po ang nakikita namin. It's more on the mining companies and other companies here in Davao de Oro, to include itong mga contractors po natin.
So ano naman pong gagawin po ninyong action dyan, sir? If dahil nga meron ho kayong hawak na listahan ho ng mga mining companies at ibang pong mga businesses na meron pong ugnayan dito sa grupo, sir, ano ho yung hakbang na dapat pong gawin po ng ating pong pwersa ngayon, sir?
Well, definitely they are liable under the anti-terrorism law. So ipapasa po namin ito dito sa Provincial Task Force, LCAP. It's a regional task force. So this could be acted upon by the legal cluster. So sila na po ang ipoprocess na namin documentation, and of course itong mga witnesses, and itong mismo, itong mga, kasi nakuha natin yung documents dito sa captured personnel mismo ng regional headquarters ng SMRC. So
Alright. Thank you, sir.
definitely cases will be filed against them.
Yes. Maraming salamat muli, sir. Brigadier General Jesus Durante, sir. Buhay po kayo. Saludo, sir. At ingat-ingat po kayo palagi. Back to you, Ma'am Gay.
Yes, Sir Bong David, maraming salamat. Maraming salamat po muli, Brigadier General Jesus P. Durante, sir, and congratulations po muli. This ends the first part of our program. Ngayon naman po, we will be having our cluster representatives and heads from our Joint Regional Task Force, LCAC in CARAGA, Region 13. May we again introduce them, sir, para po sa kaalaman ng lahat. We have our NICA Regional Director, Harold P. Nacional, our NCIP Regional Director, Odronio, and Attorney Leslie May Plaza. And representing DILG 13 is Division Chief Annabel F. Yangson. And from the PNP naman in Region 13, Police Colonel Zarzoso. Magandang hapon po, ma'ams and sirs, and welcome po sa UP Pilipinas.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Magandang hapon, ma'am.
Okay. To start our discussion, magsimula na po tayo with our Situational Awareness and Knowledge Management Cluster Head, Director National, Sir. Kamusta po ang ating LCAC campaign in CARAGA?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Unang-una, alam niyo naman na every segment of our society have been, in one way or the other, have been affected or infiltrated by the communist terrorist group by using their technique na itong ginagawa ng arouse, organize, and mobilize. And even our bureaucracy had not been spared by the infiltration of the CTG. And that is why there is a need really to educate all the sectors of our society and even the members of the bureaucracy on the deceptive recruitment scheme of the CTG. This is the reason why the Situational Awareness and Knowledge Management Cluster is in the forefront of educating our fellow government workers on the infiltration of the bureaucracy and the deceptive recruitment scheme of the CTG in every sector of our society. And with the current developments, our battle space now is on information operations to reach out to every possible Filipino citizen in order for them to know what is really the truth about the CTG and what we are doing. If we are going to compare the CTG vis-a-vis yung dito sa COVID-19, one of the solutions sa COVID-19 is vaccination. And for the CTG, one of the most important thing to vaccinate our constituents from the CTG is information, correct information. And that is the narrative of the National Task Force to End the Local Communist Armed Conflict. Good governance. So thank you very much, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Could you cite some highlights po, accomplishments ng ating Joint Regional Task Force 13?
Yes, ma'am. Along that line, since NICA 13 was just established or was created last September, and I just reported on September 19 in Butuan. From September 19 to date, your situational awareness and knowledge management cluster has already conducted 53 engagements in different areas in CARAGA region with a total of 3,931 individuals present, both face-to-face engagement and via Zoom, targeting our students, teachers, IPs, and even other members of the bureaucracy.
Okay, sir. In terms of the number of cleared barangays and barangays to be cleared, sir, kamusta po? And can you cite developments naman po in Surigao del Sur and other provinces in Region 13, sir?
Yes, ma'am. In so far as cleared barangays, mangilan-ngilan na lang yung mga hindi pa totally cleared. Ang iba may hindi may influence pa, but their influence is already waning. As you can see, even December, kahit na meron nga tayong kahit na dumaan pa si Odette, ituloy-tuloy pa rin yung inkwentro. Bakit? Kasi yung ating mga kababayan ay sila na mismo ang lumalapit sa ating mga kasundaluhan at sila na rin nagtuturo kung saan yung mga kalaban natin. Because alam nila na the government now is very sincere, na lalong-lalo na doon sa pagpapatupad ng ating barangay development programs. Yung talagang nakikita nila na naramdaman talaga nila. Sabi nila, nasaan ba yung gobyerno noong unang panahon? Bakit hindi namin naramdaman? Bakit ngayon lang? Sana noon pa ito. Hindi na sana ito nagtagal. But all we can say is that EO 70 really changes everything. Parang ito na yung nakikita nating matagal na nating inaasam-asam na solusyon para tuluyan ng tuldukan ang armadong pakikibaka.
Okay, yes, sir. Perhaps we might be able to discuss that later, sir. Itong mga barangay development program projects under BDP under implementation. Kasama naman po natin ngayon si DILG representative natin po, si Division Chief Annabel F. Yangson. Maybe she can share later itong mga detalye po about our BDP in CARAGA. Sir, but for now, may we ask po about this recent report about IP leaders po natin for a long time, for several months. Tahimik po, wala po tayong na-monitor na insidente involving our IP leaders, but nagkaroon ng very recent incident nito lamang first week of December, sir. Do we have details po on this? Ano na po ang actions natin tungkol po dito?
Yes, ma'am. May na-monitor kami. 2 o 3 ata. Yung isa, yung kasama nga yung anak niya. Yung isa, sinaksak. On criminal charges, yung PNP na ma'am it's the PNP who filed the charges. But on our part, sa intelligence agency, we have already gumawa na kami ng mga IO cards natin to condemn such killings, and then in coordination doon sa ating mga PNP personnel, we provided some information as to the identities of the perpetrators, kasi sila naman ma'am ang magfa-file ng kaso. Ang
Yes,
sa
sir.
atin, ang sa part namin is we just help the police authorities identifying the possible suspects on the aforesaid cases.
Okay, and we also receive reports po na this was in retaliation, po pwedeng retaliatory attack because kamag-anak po siya ng napaka-vocal at napaka-active na supporter ng ating NTF LCA campaign, ng ating LCA campaign, sir. Sa
Yes ma'am, yes ma'am.
Region 13. So po pwedeng retaliatory attack. Ito yung sinasabi natin and our NCIP officials po and even our IP communities in several dialogues na itong mga IP leaders natin na naglalakas loob to speak out ay under threat. Yung kanilang pamilya at mga kamag-anak ay binabalikan. Tama po ba, sir? We have seen this. Tama po ba, sir?
Yes ma'am. That is why yun nga meron na tayong ginagawa diyan. In fact, yung twice na nakipag-ugnayan na tayo doon sa may bago kasi silang ginawang grupo diyan, may bagong ginawang grupo. Now we continue to engage them. Yung ating mga kababayan na IPs diyan. Ang isang kwan lang dyan, may isang nakita lang namin kasi, there is one group of IP in CARAGA na wala sa hierarchy nila yung kanilang pagiging warrior. Yung pangayaw. So, unlike in Region 11 and in Region 12, yung IPs kasi dyan, meron silang pangayaw. So may foot soldier sila. Now when they decided to turn their backs against the CTG and help the government in its effort to get rid of the CTG, ay talagang tumutulong na sila. Hindi ko lang masabi kung ano yung ginawa natin, but tumulong na sila, na-organize na natin. Unlike dito sa CARAGA, may isang grupo diyan ng IP na wala silang ganun. So kaya pag pinuntahan sila ng NPA, sasama pa rin sila. Hindi nila kaya panindigan, kumbaga wala silang natatakot sila. So hindi nila kayang magawa na lumaban doon sa NPA na lalapit sa kanila kasi nga doon sa culture nila wala yung pangayaw na yun. Unlike sabi kong yes ma'am, unlike sa Region 11 and 12 na merong embedded doon sa structure ng tribo.
Yes, sir. Thank you for underscoring that point. Mahalagang malaman natin ito because I think ito po ang dilema ng several of our IP communities. Talagang binabalikan sila at babalik-balikan talaga sila, sir. Kaya napakahalaga sana na masustain, maipagpatuloy natin itong programa po natin, sir. Tama po, ano? Before we go to our DILG representative, for her to talk about itong barangay development program being implemented in CARAGA. Sir, any parting message po tungkol sa assessment ninyo about our campaign in CARAGA, sir?
Yes, ma'am. That is why I don't know if this is premature, pero by next year kasi, early next year, we will be, one of our programs is to build the building of social fences. This is to isolate and insulate our IPs from the CTG. So that's one of our programs in order really to help yung ating IPs, ma'am. The building of social fences to isolate and insulate our IPs from the CTG. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, maraming salamat po, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Opo. Now, can we hear from our DILG representative, Division Chief Annabel F. Yangson? Ma'am, kamusta po ang ating barangay development program projects in CARAGA?
Okay, so good evening to all the valiant officers and members of the RTF LCAP 13 and 11 on board. So it is the privilege and honor of the DILG to present the status of the SBDPs for CARAGA region. So allow me to present this in brief. So all in all, we have a total of 191 barangays, covering the 357 projects in that 191 barangays, amounting to 3.820 billion worth of project for FY 2021. So if we try to look at the statistics, after Davao, after Region 11, it's Region 13 having this big or large number of covered barangays of SPDP. So at this point, we would like to present the status of these 357 projects. Next slide. So, balik sa dia ito. Okay, if you try to look at this slide, about 20.45% of the projects are already under procurement process. We have 79.55 ongoing, meaning they're able to issue the NTP. And of course, what else? What are the numbers? Okay, so that's all for the ongoing projects, 176 out of the 357. Next slide. So these are among the milestones that we were able to conduct in the region. We would like to highlight the groundbreaking activities and ceremonies that we're able to spearhead by the RTF LCAP 13. So we're able to conduct 13 groundbreaking ceremonies starting July 8 to August 31, 2021. So we have 3 in province of Agusan del Norte, 1 in Agusan del Sur, 2 in Surigao del Norte, 5 in Surigao del Sur, and 2 in Butuan City. All in all, we're able to conduct the groundbreaking ceremony in 13 barangays in the region. So here are some of the photos, or the pictures, wherein we were there attending the ceremonies or the groundbreaking ceremonies in the specific barangays. Next slide. Okay, so the next slides will present or will highlight the before and the ongoing photos of the SBDP project in the region. So specifically, if you try to look at this, this was the barangay being, the Mount Carmel barangay was the one visited by for our former Cords Nograles, wherein he personally went to this Mount Carmel to look into the status of this barangay, and this time ito na po yung itsura ng project natin, wherein we have this farm to market road project that is ongoing in this barangay. Another is in Bayugan, still in Bayugan City, in Pinagalaan. Before, this was the picture, and now around pila ni ka% na po ang accomplishment. And for Puktoy, these are some random pictures of the location of the projects in the region. So if you try to look at the picture po, kitang-kita naman po natin kung meron na talagang nagawa. And of course, this is so helpful to the community. In fact, if we only have time to show to you the AVPs that we're going to collect, from the testimonies of the constituents, it's a heartwarming messages coming from them. Maiyak-iyak pa nga yung iba. So this is now the picture of the projects in the region. So next. Okay. Okay, so ito yung sinabi namin that we are able to produce 51 audiovisual presentations highlighting the stories of each barangay beneficiary prior to the implementation of the identified projects. So we are also willing to share it with you. So some of the other activities that we conducted are the right shop on the development of C4Ps and SBDP compendium, wherein we personally, Yusek Malaya of our Undersecretary of DILG, visited the region to start or to grace this right shop for the SBDP, in coming up with this SBDP compendium. Okay, so I guess, ma'am, in the well, we will be ending by 6. So yun lang po, nikat ko yung presentation ko. But somehow, we are willing to share with you some of the accomplishments or activities being conducted by the 5 clusters wherein DILG CARAGA is heading. So the LGE, the Local Government Empowerment and Basic Services Cluster, and other clusters na kung saan the DILG is leading. So far yun lang po, and na-emphasize ko po yung SBDP.
Yes, ma'am. Maraming salamat po for sharing all of these, ma'am. Kamusta po ang pagtanggap ng ating mga pamayanan, communities?
Talaga, ma'am, as what I have said, it's a work, parang na nakakataba ng puso when you were able to talk with not only the barangay officials but also the constituents of the barangay, wherein they will be the ones who will benefit from this project. Sabi pa nga nila, ay totoo pala ito, no? Totoo pala ito. So most probably they've been promised for this, but medyo matagal-tagal din na hindi pala na naging katotohanan or na make it into reality. So DILG being as always providing technical assistance in identification of project to this barangay development planning, no? So alam namin kung ano talaga ang pinaka felt need ng community. And this time for the DILG itself, we are so happy that we're able to guide them to this kind of project that will really respond to the community na felt need. So if you have the opportunity to talk with them and look at the sharing that they delivered, no, in our ABPs, grabe talaga, ma'am. Parang sabi pa nga nila, totoo may government talaga, because it's the governance gap that we are answering with this SBDP.
Okay, ma'am. Perhaps we can hear later po from our NCIP Regional Director And kasama niya po si Attorney Leslie May Plaza, ma'am, tungkol po sa ating mga IP communities na sigurado po kaming naging beneficiaries po ng ating barangay development program in CARAGA. Tama po ba, ma'am?
Okay, so I guess Attorney Leslie, are you in? But I would like to share, prior to the implementation of the project, we've been through a lot, In fact, there was a time wherein we initiated activities just to coordinate with the concerned agencies. For example, in coming up for this certificate of that will be issued by NCIP, and with the close coordination and specifically talking with Attorney Leslie, we're able to iron out things, and for now we have no problem with that because everything was already, I guess all the certification were already issued to the projects here in CARAGA region. Siguro from the start medyo may hindi nagtutugma na mga data, but somehow when we had a talk with Attorney Leslie during that time, sa ngayon po wala na kaming problema with NCIP in terms of the issuance of certificate.
Okay. So this whole of government convergence po is really at work. Masasabi niyo po ba ito, ma'am, that it's really at work at hindi pa po ito nangyayari previously? Ngayon lang po natin nakikita. Tama po ba?
Talaga, opo. We can vouch to that, that really whole of nation approach is working in CARAGA in the region. Primarily because parang it's more on, we end up with the identification of the project, and after that, you have these windows that you can go with, but somehow with this SBDP, parang parang answered prayer na ng mga barangay official na ito yung gusto nila at ito naman ay naibibigay talaga ng government, especially if they are part of the 191 barangays in the region. So malaking bahagi talaga, ma'am, ang 20 million. Just imagine, and barangay is only having an average of 2 to 3 million IRA, NTA. But this time, sino magbibigay sa iyo ng 20 million na worth of project? And out of that IRA pala, ma'am, is you can only secure the 20% of that for the development projects.
Hello.
So,
Ma'am, bago tayo tuloy ang putulin ng tatlong radio station na carrier natin, tayo po ay magpapaalam muna doon sa tatlong radio station kasi hanggang alas 6 lang tayo. Pero sa Facebook account ho, sa siyam na social media accounts po natin, tuloy-tuloy po yung ating palatuntunan. Back to you, ma'am. Maraming salamat sa ating mga tagapagsubaybay sa 99.9 GVFM. Diyan po sa Central Luzon sa 793 at saka sa Metro Manila ay ang DWWD Armed Forces Radio. Bukas uli po sa ating palatuntunan. Back to you, Gay and Ma'am Annabel.
Yes, sir. Just one last question po for our DILG representative. Ma'am, ito pong whole of nation convergence natin, has it made our efforts po ngayon para po sa mga nabiktima na salanta ng Typhoon Odette easier po?
Actually, just this afternoon, we conducted a Zoom meeting with R12, Region 12, because the RTF also were able to generate donations that will be transferred to CARAGA region. They are now I guess they're in Tagum right now. So this RTF is very helpful in facilitating the delivery of this ayuda coming from different regions. We will be receiving tonight, coming at, I guess, 28 na load of 28 vehicles coming from Region 9 and Region 12. So this is through the effort of the RTF LCACs of that specific regions. helpful talaga yung yung coordination and whole of nation approach na ginagawa ng government natin, not just for this LCAP thing, but especially in this disaster or this trying times that we are having right now in CARAGA region.
Okay, ma'am, we will get back to you po if you can cite issues and challenges naman po. Not only sa implementation ng ating barangay development program, but also itong current efforts po natin, relief efforts po natin sa mga nasalanta ng Typhoon Odette. But now, we will hear po muna from our NCIP Regional Director. Sir, magandang hapon po. Welcome po sa APA Pilipinas. Regional Director Odronio, sir, and Attorney Leslie May Plaza from NCIP Region 13. Okay, I think they're not around as of the moment, sir. Can we go back po kay Ma'am Annabelle yang son, ma'am? Ma'am Annabelle?
Hello. Lumabas ako sa conference room. Hinanap ko yung list of ayuda that we've been receiving coming from different regions rather. But definitely, I am sure that tonight, ayuda coming from the Region 9, Region 12 will be arriving by 8 o'clock. And that will be transported directly to the provincial offices and to provincial offices of DILG, if that is for the personnel of DILG. But for those local government unit will be received directly by DSWD and OCD.
Okay, ma'am. Itatanong lang po namin, kamusta po ang ating mga IP communities? Kasi po alam naman po natin that our IP communities, ito po talagang nasa remote areas po natin. Naaabot po ba sila, ma'am? At sila rin kasi yung tipong hindi po sila hesitant silang pumila o humingi ng tulong po ng assistance, ma'am.
I cannot speak for NCIP, but in all activities that we are conducting with DILG, definitely the tribal community are being considered. In fact, during the planning for this SBDP, they were consulted. Very separate discussion or consultation coming from them were conducted by the office for them to be. It's true, really, Miss Gay, that they have the tendency na medyo hindi sila masyadong expressive when they will be in the crowd. So we really have to conduct a separate activity for them, and of course to be able to marry the discussion with the tribal community. So with the Barangay Development Council, we will be inviting, or a tribal chieftain will represent their group to the big council, or this Barangay Development Council, or the planning body of the barangay. Ganon po ang treatment namin sa concerns ng mga IP community natin. But if we try to look at the picture now, especially now that we are most of the IP communities here in the region were also victims of this Odette, Typhoon Odette. As far as I know, number one, priority, beneficiary sila in terms of the ayuda that the local government unit, the national government unit, the national government agencies are extending to the victims. Appeal good sila sa Bisaya pa. Kasali talaga sila, and not just kasali, but somehow nag-una talaga sila sa identification of the beneficiary. And I do believe that OCD and DSWD is doing their best to respond to the needs of this community.
Maraming salamat po, ma'am. Maraming salamat din po sa lahat ng efforts po ninyo in DILG and all of our agencies po in CARAGA po. Now, can we hear from our guest naman po from PNP Region 13? Sir, welcome po sa Up Pilipinas. Police Colonel Zarzoso, sir.
Good evening po, Ma'am Gail. I am Police Colonel James Goforth, representing Colonel Zarzoso, the Chief Operations of PRO 13.
Yes, sir. Kamusta po ang ating peace and law enforcement cluster efforts and activities po in CARAGA, sir? Kanina nabanggit ng ating situational awareness and knowledge management cluster head, ang ating NICA Regional Director po. Some developments, sir, in CARAGA po, napag-usapan po natin kanina, and of course, napag-usapan din natin ang Barangay Development Program being implemented and our efforts naman po para sa mga nasalanta at mga naging biktima ng Typhoon Odette. Kamusta po ang ating PLEDS cluster na pinangungunahan ng PNP, sir, in CARAGA?
Yes, ma'am. We are closely coordinating with our partners, from the Armed Forces of the Philippines and other stakeholders. Kung regards naman doon sa mga accomplishments natin, I will share yung mga ibang accomplishment when it comes sa mga CTGs, So this is also in coordination, yung iba dito is in a joint, sa ating Armed Forces of the Philippines for the period covered from January or up to present, from December 2021. We have arrested 234 CTGs, and there are surrenderies of 61 who are PSR listed. Yung 762 are non-PSR listed. 24 they died in police operations and military operations. So yung total number of CNTs natin na neutralized is 1,881. And we were able to recover 335 firearms. 48, meron tayong 48 encounters. Some of them are joint operations with the Armed Forces of the Philippines. So continuous naman po, ma'am, yung natin, yung efforts natin when it comes, hindi lang po dito sa when it comes sa arresting and yung mga neutralization, but we are also doing community efforts, na to encourage yung mga kapatid po natin na of the program sa EO 70 and kung paano sila uling makabalik sa folds ng government na para makapag-umpisa sila ng bagong buhay at maipabalita nila na the government is here to help them and to develop their place na walang kasing this is the right path to development. So continuous po, ma'am, yan yung mga pinagagawa ng effort ng ating kapulisan.
Okay, may I open the floor for questions po from mga kasama po natin, Sir Emil Carion, Sir Bong David, and Sir Ernie Alcazare.
Alright, thank you very much po, Ma'am Gay, Ako po ay wala na po kung mga katanungan pa. Actually, ma'am, may tanong po ako sa NCIP pero parang wala po ata sila sa ating linya ngayong araw po sa ating palatuntunan. Siguro po, bigyan pagkakataon po natin yung ilang katanungan po ni Founder Bong David para po sa ating mga bisita. Sir Bong, baka po meron pa po kayong karagdagang tanong po sa ating pong mga bisita, Sir Bong? Alright, mukhang wala na rin po, Ma'am Gay.
Yes, it's okay. As we've mentioned before, this is a two-part series. We will have Thursday for Joint Regional Task Force 13 pa rin, because this is a series that will feature our 12 lines of efforts and our 17 regional task forces. For this week, we have itong ating JRTF 13. So I believe that ends our episode for today for lack of time na, no? But we can always continue sa Huwebes po. Sirs and ma'ams, you are still welcome to join us on Thursday po if you wish to elaborate and add to the discussion po on the accomplishments and activities ng ating Joint Regional Task Force 13 and for your assessment po on our ending the local armed conflict campaign at the regional level and on a whole at the national level na rin. Back to you, Ma'am Sherry.
Alright, maraming salamat po, Ma'am Gay. Siguro po bago po tayo tuluyang magpaalam, Ma'am, ay hingan lang po natin ng parting statement. Ang atin pong naging bisita from DILG na si Ma'am Annabel Yangson. Ma'am, baka po meron kayong ilang mga anunsyo and at the same time parting statement po para po sa ating mga nakikinig at nakasubaybay, Ma'am.
Okay, so we would like to take this opportunity to thank the generous neighboring regions natin, to start with Region 9, Region 10, Region 11, and Region 12, who provided us assistance, no, to the victims of this Typhoon Odette, to the provinces of Dinagat Islands and Surigao del Norte and other component local government units. We are so thankful to them because from the very start, I would like to mention, no, Region 12. Ang alam na lang namin na nasa Trinto na pala sila. So without any parang voluntarily they go on their way to give us the assistance, and we are so thankful to that, no. That is the initiative of the group of regional directors of DILG, no, with our Secretary Anyo, wherein he is personally encourages all the RDs to provide assistance, no, and help to this victim of Typhoon Odette. And we would like also to inform everyone that we are so confident that these SBDP projects, the 357 projects in the region, will really be implemented, and that is so we are so confident that will really happen and that will be implemented. It's because concerned agencies, namely the DNR, the EMB, NCIP, TESDA, NICA, of course, NICA is always with us, no, when we conducted these activities for SBDP, and the PNP, the EFP, and other cluster members and other cluster heads, no, other agencies, not to mention kay parang 30 agencies yata yun. And my apology kung hindi na mention, but definitely the implementation of the project on SBDP will not be that smooth if it has no support coming from you, and we are so thankful to that. Salamat kaayo sa inyong suporta atong mga kauban na RTF LCAP 13 members, no. Salamat kaayo sa makanunayon natong pagsuporta sa ato ang implementation sa atong mga priority projects diri sa CARAGA region. With that, mao na mong panghinaot that we will continue with our efforts come 2022, no. Daghang salamat o may gabi ka natong tanan.
Alright, maraming salamat mga kaibigan, atin pong napakinggan at nakasama po sa ating palatuntunan ang Division Chief po ng DILG CARAGA na si Ma'am Annabel Yangson. And by the way po sa ating pong mga nakikinig na kababayan po is maaari niyo pong balikan or makita po yung presentation po ng status ng implementation po ng BDP ng DILG CARAGA po. Sa ating pong palatuntunang AFP Pilipinas, i-search nyo lamang po sa Facebook ang AFP Pilipinas at pwede nyo pong makita yung PowerPoint presentation po na ibinahagi po ng ating DILG CARAGA. Maraming salamat po ma'am, and of course parting statement po mula naman po sa ating Police Regional Office 13, ang representative po ni Police Colonel Sarsoso. Sir, sa inyo pong parting statement or ilang mga anunsyo po para po sa ating mga kababayang nakasubaybay, sir. Alright, mukhang wala na rin po sa linya, Ma'am Gay, ang ating pong representative from PNP. Well, anyway, kagaya po ng nabanggit po ng ating mga bisita ngayong araw at naunawaan po natin yung ginagawa pong mga peace and development programs po ng ating pong kasundaluhan, and of course, ang ating pong NTF-ELCAC, particularly po ang Joint Regional Task Force 13. Of course, sa tuloy-tuloy pong kampanya po ng ating NTF-ELCAC sa pagbibigay po ng developmental programs sa ating pong mga kababayan, at ganyan po, naunawaan din po sana natin yung efforts po na ginagawa po ng ating government. And of course, para po matugunan yung pagbangon at pagsisimula po muli ng ating pong mga kababayang na biktima po ng bagyong Odette. Ma'am Gay, tayo po ay tuluyan na po magpapaalam. Siguro po parting statement na lang po mula naman po sa NTF-ELCAC, ma'am.
Yes, Ma'am Sherry, in behalf of the NTF-ELCAC, nagpapasalamat kami sa ating mga representatives and heads of our clusters sa ating Joint Regional Task Force 13 in CARAGA. We hope you can join us again sa Huwebes po para sa part 2 or tuloy-tuloy na usapan natin at diskusyon tungkol sa ating ending the local communist armed conflict campaign in CARAGA. Yun lamang, Ma'am Sherry, back to you.
Maraming salamat po, spokesperson Gay Florendo ng NTF-ELCAC. At tayo po ay tuluyan na pong magpapaalam sa ating pong palatuntunan, pero gaya po ng ating nakagawian para tuloy-tuloy po ang paggabay po sa atin ng Panginoon, sa ating pong mga gawaing pangkapayapaan at pangkaunlaran. Tayo po ay magkakaroon po ng closing prayer na hatid po sa atin ni Pastor Major Rivera, sir.
Magandang gabi po, tayo po ay sama-samang dumulog sa ating Panginoon. Manalangin po tayo. Panginoong Diyos, amang makapangyarihan sa lahat, kami po ay patuloy na nagpapasalamat sa inyo sa programa ng AFP Pilipinas sa pamamagitan ng mga taong ginamit ninyo sa tuloy-tuloy na laban para wakasan ng teroristang grupo na sumisira sa aming kalayaan at kasaganahan. Nagpapasalamat din po kami sa mga magigiting na mga kawal at kapulisan at mga ibang ahensya ng aming pamahalaan na patuloy na nagsusumikap para manatili ang aming kalayaan sa aming mga komunidad. Alam din po namin na marami pa kaming kailangang pagkaisahan upang ang pag-unlad ng aming bayan ay may sakatuparan. Kasama na po dito ang communist terrorist group na malapit na po naming talunin sa pamamagitan ng pagkakaisa ng bawat mamamayan at ng bawat ahensya ng aming pamahalaan. At sa pagharap po namin sa aming malawakang laban ng kapayapaang ito, na susubok sa aming lakas at katapatan, huwag nawa kaming mapagod na tapusin ang laban na ito. Huwag nawa kaming masiraan ng loob, pagkus ay aming ipagpatuloy ang pagtatalaga ng aming buhay sa inyo at sa aming bayan. Na humahawak ng kapalaran ng lahat, maging matatag nawa kami at umasa sa tagumpay ng katarungan at katotohanan. At sa ganitong diwa, mamuhay nawa kami sa iyong pagpapala ng kapayapaan at ng kasaganaan. Sa pamagitan ng iyong habag, huwag nawa kaming matagpuan na may makasariling hangarin sa mga sandaling ito. Ito ang aming dalangin kay Kristo na aming Panginoon. Amen.
Maraming salamat po, Pastor Major Rivera, sir, para po sa ating panalangin. And of course, mga kaibigan, bago po tayo tuloy magpaalam, ay pasalamatan po muli natin yung ating mga naging bisita ngayong araw po sa ating palatuntunan na kasama po natin si Brigadier General Jesus Durante the 3rd Philippine Army, ang commander po ng 1001st Infantry Pag-Asa Brigade, ng 10th Infantry Agila Division po ng Philippine Army. At ganyan po, nakasama po natin ang Regional Director po ng NICA Region 13 na si Director Harold Nacional. At of course, ang ating pong kasamahan po mula sa DILG CARAGA, ang kanila pong Division Chief na si Ma'am Annabel Yangson. At ang representative po ni Police Colonel Sarsoso naman po ng Police Regional Office 13. Maraming salamat po, sirs and ma'ams, sa inyo pong pakikibahagi sa ating pong palatuntunang Up Pilipinas. With that, tayo po ay tuloy magpapaalam na, pero bago ko po makalimutan, pasalamatan ko rin po ang ating technical side sa pangunguna po ni Sergeant Romuel Sayaga, at ang naka-duty po ata ngayon ay si Sergeant Mark De Leon, and of course yung ating program producer na si Airwoman 2nd Class Mariel Kawid, at yung ating po mga naging kasama rin po sa ating palatuntunan, sina Founder Bong David, sila Sir Emil Carion na pumasok po kanina sa ating pong palatuntunan. Sa pangalan po ng main host ng inyo pong palatuntunang Up Pilipinas na si Brigadier General Jerry M. Samudio, ako pong yung lingkod, Airwoman Cherry Flores, kasama po si spokesperson Dave Florendo ng NTF-ELCAC. Maraming salamat po mga kaibigan sa inyo pong pagsubaybay.